Hello everyone, I'm Michelle. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to make this bib style necklace. It's diagonal Pondo stitch. We'll learn that, and I will be using, I'll give you the material list here in a second, but we're going to be using the drops instead of the flowers. If you have the flowers and would rather use them, then that's just fine. That's what I used here. So, and then it's reversible as well. On the back is more of the cream color than the blue. See that? See, that's the blue. I mean, that's the cream color and that's the blue side. Alright, and it's a cute little summer necklace. Looks perfect with your little tank tops or whatever you want to wear. Okay, so let's get a material list going. We need some 8/0 seed beads, and I'm using check pearl. And you know, this is not a white pearl. This is a creamy pearl color. All right, and now I've got material. I'm using materials that I got from beadpark.com. They sent me these materials, and I'd say thank you for that. And so I'm going to use maybe both, or maybe one color here of these 4x6 millimeter drops. They're faceted drops. All right, I'm going to use the 1.5 by 2 millimeter rondelles. They're crystal rondelles, but they're matte. And then I'm going to use some of the cactus green MIYUKI seed beads I got from Bead Park, and chain. It's a stainless steel I got from Bead Park. All of the links to these items will be down in the description bar. This is a nice heavy roll of stainless steel chain for $5.55, I believe. You can't beat the prices. Alright, and then I'm also going to need some kind of a clasp. I haven't figured out if I'm going to use a toggle or a lobster claw. So I'll probably end up using a lobster claw, so you can get that out. And I also am using a size 10 pony beading needle. And we'll probably have to add thread, definitely. So just get what you're comfortable with. I've got a good wingspan at least. Alright, so get your materials together, come back, and we'll get started learning diagonal Pondo stitch. Alright, so let's pick up 4 of our 11/0s. Bring them down to the stop bead. Needle up through that bead closest to the stop bead, like that, and pull your beads down. Alright, so we have a right angle weave unit, and then we're going to pick up an 8/0, go through that first stop bead, or first 11/0, excuse me, pick up an 8/0, and pick up a fourth 8/0, go through the next 11/0, if I can get in there, and the 8/0, how'd that happen? I didn't go through the 8/0, but it's like it is through the 8. So I'll go back through. So we're coming out of that 8/0. We have 4 11/0s and 4 8/0s, one in between each 11/0. Alright, and that's a Pondo stitch. So we're coming out of that 8/0, we're going to pick up 4 Now on right angle weave we pick up 3, but on this we're going to pick up 4. On Pondo stitch you pick up 4 11/0s, and we're going to go right through the opposite side of that 8/0 that we're coming out of. Alright, we're coming out of an 8/0, so we've got to come through an 11/0. You know, because it's got to be 1 8/0, 1 11/0, 1 8/0, 1 11/0. Pick up an 8/0, come through the next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, come through the next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, come through the next 11/0, and the 8/0 after that if you can get it, like that. Right, and there's 2 Pondo stitch units, right, like that. So now we're going to make our way over to this 8/0. So I'm going to turn my piece so I can sew through the 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, and the 8/0 if you can get it, and the 8/0. Alright, pick up 4 more 11/0s. Coming through out of this side of that 8/0, go needle through the opposite side, coming out of an 8/0, so we need to go through that first 11/0. Pick up an 8/0, go through the next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, go through the next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, go through the next 11/0, and that next 8/0. Alright. When we embellish, and this is going to be the top row here, so we'll add our, you know, our beads in between, and it'll kind of straighten the units out, but not yet. Alright, so we're going to come through the 11/0, we're going to work our way to the end, so we're going to come through that first 11/0, then the 8/0, let's see how many we can get here, and 11/0, and to this side 8/0. And that's the only reason that we just did the moves we made, is because we're just working our way back to this 8/0 to add 4 more 11/0s. So let's do it one more time. Pick up 4 11/0s coming out of this side of that 8/0, needle through the opposite side, go through the first 11/0, pick up an 8/0, come through that next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, come through that next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, come through that next 11/0, oops, and the 8/0. There's our Pondo stitch unit. Now we're going to work our way back around to that 8/0 to add another unit. And there we go. We're ready to add our 4 11/0s. Okay, so that's 4 units. We need 25 units across the top. Alright, so make 21 more units. Come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, I've got 25 units made, and we're coming out of this last 8/0 here on the end. So for diagonal Pondo, we're going to go and we're going to begin on the 3rd row. We'll skip 2 and start on the 3rd row. So we'll have to work our way over there. So I'm going to come through. You know, just follow your thread path through and work your way over. If I can get through this 11/0 here, I'll be doing good. So I'm working my way to this 3rd unit. Okay, I'm just coming, oops, no. Coming down. Through my thread paths, and now I'm here beginning at this 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we're just going to pick up 4 more 11/0s. We go through the opposite side of that 8/0 there. Okay, that's what it looks like. So we're gonna, coming out of 8/0, we got to go through an 11/0. Oops, my thread got caught somewhere. Don't want to do that. It'll mess us up. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to pick up an 8/0. Just like we did in the 1st row. We're beginning a 2nd row here, and we're going to pick up an 8/0 and go through the next 11/0. Pick up an 8/0, go through the next 11/0, pick up an 8/0, go through the next 11/0 and 8/0. Alright, then we'll come down to the 8/0, you know, because that's where we need to be to do our next unit. So I went through the 11/0, and then I'll come down through that 8/0 on the edge. I might have to turn my piece over here. Alright, so now, we've got this 8/0 and this 8/0. Alright, and we're going to need one 11/0 in between these two 8/0s, but we're not there yet. So we got to pick up 3 11/0s because we need a total of 4. 3 11/0s. We're going to come in to this 8/0. Alright, and then we're going to pick up one 11-0, and we're going to come down into the next 8-0. So like right angle weave, we're kind of sharing two beads here, you know, from two different units to blend them in. Okay, so we're coming out of an 8-0, we're going to go through the 11-0. You got to pick up an 8-0, go through the next 11-0. It's go into this 11-0 and the 8-0. Here we are, and that's 2 units on that row. So we go down our thread path and work our way to the edge here, the bead on the edge, so we can add the next unit. So we come down to 8-0, 11-0, 8-0 on the bottom, then we go up the 11-0 and 8-0 on this side. Oops. So now our thread, we just got to go along with, you know, what our thread's doing. Our thread is coming out up this way, so we'll put the one bead on first. We're coming out of this 8-0, we're going to come up through the second shared bead, the shared 8-0. We're sharing 8-0s. Okay, and I put that one in. Now I got to pick up 3 11-0s, and we're coming out of this 8-0 here, but we need to go up through this one to create a unit. Right like that. See that? Then we're going to come through the 8-0 because we're coming out of the 11-0. We went through the 8-0 and 11-0. We're coming out of an 8-0. We got to go through the next 11-0 just like we did on the other units. Pick up an 8-0. Go through the next 11-0. Pick up an 8-0. Go through the next 11-0. 8-0. 11-0 if you can get it. Okay, we're just working our way around the unit. To the edge, to the side, so we can put on our next unit. The only beads that we share are the 2 8-0s every time. Okay, there's our third unit. We're coming down this time, so we want to pick up the 3 11-0s. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to come through that top shared 8-0. Pick up 1, come down through that side shared 8-0. Now we're ready to add the rest of our 8. We already have 2 8-0s. Remember, we only have to add 2 more, but you'll see that when you go through, you're coming out of 8-0, you go through the 11-0, an 8-0, go through the next 11-0, pick up an 8-0, go through the next 11-0, and 8-0 if you can get it. Okay, and there's the 4th unit. Oh, work your way back around to get to the side shared 8-0. This time it'll be facing up, to where you pick up one 11-0 first. You know, it goes back and forth to which way you're going to start off. See, your thread is facing up towards that 8-0, so you'll pick up your 1, add that in there, and then you'll pick up your 3 11-0s. Okay, so you only want to do this row, you only want to come over on the third. You'll stop after you put this unit on. We'll do it just like this side. Okay, so count over, you know, just use your bottom beads here, your bottom 8-0, use your bottom 8-0s, 1 2 3, and that's where your last unit will be on this row. Alright, get there, come back, and we'll do the next step. Okay, so we have stopped on the third unit here on the second row. Alright, 1 2, and our third unit is completed. And then there's two, you know, of course there's 2 empty units. So we want to work our way down to the third unit on the bottom here and do our next row. And we're going to stop on the third unit, of course, on the next row. So we'll just work our way down, or around our thread path, until we get over where we need to be. So I can't get through that bead. Now I've already had to add thread. And how I added thread was I burnt the end of my thread till I formed a little ball with a flame. You just barely touch it to the flame and get a little ball on each end. Tie that in a knot and pull until those knots connect. I've done it I've showed you how in lots of my videos. Sometimes I just sew my thread in. You could also just make sure you sew your thread in around, reverse in directions. But we still have to go through these beads a few more times to embellish. So I thought I would use the other method. So we are on our third unit. Let me straighten that out. So there's 1 2, and we're coming out the third bead here on the bottom, the third 8-0. And then all we do is same thing we did on the previous row. We start by picking up 4, going around the opposite side, that bead, that 8-0, right? And then we needle through that first 11-0 because we're coming out of an 8-0. Then we pick up an 8-0, go through the next 11-0, pick up an 8-0, go through the next 11-0. Now the first unit is a full unit, and so we'll be adding one more 8-0. Wait, yeah. And we go through, pick up an 8-0, go through that 11-0 and the last 8, or that 8-0, and then we work our way back around till we're coming out of this unit, until we're coming out of that side 8-0, one of the shared 8-0s. There you go. And then we're going to pick up 3 11-0s. It's just like the previous row. It'll be 3 first, and then the next time it'll be 1 first. And pick up 1 and come down through that side shared 8-0. And then we'll come through the 11-0, and then we'll add an 8-0. We'll come through the next 11-0, add an 8-0, and then work our way back around and begin again, doing the same exact thing we did on the previous row. Don't forget to stop when you get to the 3rd unit. All right, and so we will be doing let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. The 7th row will only have 1 unit on it by the time you get down there, but you'll see you could go in 3 on each side, just like before. So continue to go down, starting on the 3rd and ending on the 3rd unit each time, and you'll eventually get shorter and shorter rows till you get down to the bottom, and I'll come back at that point. Okay, I just wanted to stop in and let you know that, check in with you and show you that we have completed our 3rd row. And what we need to do, of course, is work our thread pass down to this 3rd bead here, the 3rd 8-0 on the bottom, and start from there again and stop at your 3rd here. Now I know it looks kind of funny, you got these big gaps in here, but once we embellish, as you can see, we'll be filling those gaps in and making it look pretty. So start on your 3rd, finish on your 3rd over from the right, and continue doing it until you, I'll keep popping in, okay, and maybe explaining something that I think you might need explained, who knows, but I'll be back. Okay, we're on our 5th row, and this row only has 9 units, so you start with a 3rd, of course, and you end with the 3rd. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units, and then we'll go to the 6th row when we get back. All right, row 6, go in 3, end on 3, 5 units. We have 5 units to do here. All right. Okay, now we're on the very last row, and come in 3, and you just have that 1 center unit that we have to make. So go ahead and make that 1 unit, come back, and we'll do the next step. Okay, now I think instead of using the chartreuse green, I'm going to use a little bit lighter, because here's those. It's a little bit different, it's kind of a different tone that I want. I probably won't use the drops. I'll probably go with its lighter palette. Alright, so we're coming out. I'm coming out that 8-0 here. Just want to come over, down through. There's 11-0 and the side 8-0 on that last unit. I added some more thread with that the knot method. You, like I said, you burn the ends. You stick it next to a flame till it forms a little ball on the end of your thread, and then your new end of your new piece of thread, you do the same, and then you tie a knot and pull until those knots to those ends catch. Now that's a method you can't use if you're using like 15 O's. But, okay, so here we go. So we're going to pick up our rondelle. And we're coming, let's say we're coming down. And we want to jump over into the next 8-0 going down like this. And add that rondelle to the center of that unit. And then we will work our way back up to do the next row. Let's see, let me figure out a thread path. Where am I at here? Just working my way over to the end of the you know, to the end of the next row up. So, you know, we don't have to, so we can begin on one end and end on the other. So we don't have to kind of go back and forth and just work our way to the end. Let's see, come out of there. Make sure your thread don't get tangled. All right, so we're beginning on this side, and we're going to do just what we did at the bottom. We're going to pick up a crystal rondelle. These are 1.5 by 2, I believe. And then we're coming down off the bottom. We want to be coming down, jump over to the adjacent 8-0, and we want our thread to be coming down. So we go down and pop that little crystal in place. And we're already in position to pick up our next crystal. And we're coming out of this 8-0. We want to jump over to that very next 8-0 that's sitting in the same direction. Now, I hope I'm doing this on the right side. Yeah, I think I am. I skipped this Ado, and you know, you can see the thread there, but it's okay. Now pick up another crystal, coming out that 8-0, jump over to the next 8-0, and come down through. See where we're coming out? Right there. And so we're just placing this little crystal right in the center of each one of these units, going row by row. Pick up a crystal. Coming out of that 8-0. I'm going to jump down into the next 8-0. I probably should have used the green thread that I just got. It would have blended a lot better, I think, with these colors. It's like an army green color. Alright, so let's pick up another crystal. And coming out of that 8-0 right here, we're just going to jump over to the next 8-0. Like that. Now we got to work our way up to this bead here so we can begin our next row over. So that looks like going back through that crystal. And up through the 8-0. And now I've turned it because I want to go up through. That 11-0, that 8-0, that 11-0. Now once we get our, we'll be placing beads in between these gaps, and it'll latch it all together. So don't worry if it's sticking up a little bit. Let's see where I'm at. Okay, and then I'll just go up through this 8-0 and 11-0, and I'm working my way over, to the end of the row. So continue to work your way over there. Come back and we'll do the next row. Third row up, I'm going to pick up a crystal, and we're coming down. So that's the same way we're going to go clear across the row, down where our thread's coming out the bottom of that 8-0, and pull. Pick up a crystal. Coming down out of this 8-0, we want to go down, through the next 8-0. See our threads coming down out of the bottom of that 8-0. We want to jump over and bring our thread down through the bottom of the next 8-0. Pick up a crystal. Coming out of that 8-0, we're going to come over to the next 8-0 and go down through that 8-0. Pick up a crystal. Do the same thing. Go down through the next 8 out. Alright, so go down that row, doing the same thing, embellishing. We're putting a crystal right in the center of each one of these units by going down through the side 8 O's. Okay, get my needle down here. There we go. And add your crystals. By going down through each 8 O that's on the sides. You know, these ones. All the way down through these rows. One row after the next until we get to the top. See, I'm caught there. So you gotta be careful of. And once you get to the end of each row, you just have to follow your thread paths up and go to the next row. Here, let me lay it out. So you will have to go either back through this crystal and up, or all the way around, and just follow your thread paths till you get back to the edge 8 O. So go through every row, putting on your crystals in the center of your units. Work your way up to the top, come back, and we'll do the next step. Okay, I made my way all the way to the top here. Starting at the bottom, I made my way all the way to the top, and now I finished. I'm coming out that last 8 O on this, side 8 O here. So now what we're going to do is let's see, I'm going to work my way to this top 8 O. Let me lay it out. I'm going to work my way right here to this top 8 O. So it's just a couple of beads I got to go through here. This 11 O, and I don't know if I can get the 8 O as well. Yes. And then that puts me in position to go through the top and put in my crystals. I'm just going to add the crystal itself. I'm not going to do it I'm not going to pull it real tight, but it will curve. It will have this. Let me show you the other piece. It will have this kind of small curve. See? And that's what we want to lay on the neck, right? Alright, so pick up a crystal, and we're just going to do what well, no we're not. We're just going to go from, see these line of 8 O's on the top? This whole line of 8 O's sticking up? We're just going to add a crystal in between each one. So pick up a crystal and jump into the next 8 O. Pick up a crystal, coming out of one 8 O that's sticking out. We're going to jump through the next sticking out 8 O. Just like peyote. I'm just going to add our crystals in the top row. Just pick them up, go through the next 8 row. Okay, and excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. You know, it's going, don't pull it real tight like that, but you know, it's going to naturally curve, and we don't want it real loose because these beads are not, you know, our space is larger than the bead, and that allows for that curve, but we don't want to pull it too tight where it bunches up either. So continue to add your crystals in between your 8 O's on the top row. Come back and we'll do the next step. Alright, so we've put the crystals along the top, and I'm going to pick up 9. We're coming out of this top 8 O here. Pick up 9 11 O's, and then we're just going to jump down into this bottom 8 O, that same unit, like that. Alright, now we're coming out exactly where we need to be. Alright, so we're going to pick up an 11 O, go down through the small part of your drop, pick up an 11 O, go back up through your drop. That 11 O acts as a stopper. Pick up an 11 O and go through that next, that 8 O that's right, you know, right to the left. Oops, something just caught. There we go. And that adds that drop on. Alright, now we've got to pick up a crystal. I'm going to add that crystal right in between these two 8 O's. So we're jumping down to the next row, and we're going to add that crystal to make the jump and to fill in that space. Oops, how did I get a piece of? Here we go. Like that. Okay. And then we've got to come down to this space. We got to go do it through 2 beads. The 11 O and the 8 O. And that puts us in position to add the next crystal. Alright. So now we're going to pick up an 11 O, crystal, 11 O. Let's go ahead and slide those down. Skip that 11 O, that's a stopper, and go up through that drop. Okay, I want to make sure it's pulled up, you know, not real tight, because you got to add that next 11 O to get it to be centered between these 2 8 O's here. So pick up your 11 O, and we're working left, so we're going to go left and add that crystal drop in between those 2 8 O's there. Then we're going to, we got to go down to the next row. So we're working kind of on a diagonal here. It's where we're adding these crystals. So I'm going to pick up a crystal, go down through that edge bead, of that next row. Don't pull real tight, just make sure you really know thread's really showing. Now these drops are a lot smaller than the flowers I used. It's up to you what size you use. These are the products that I received from beadpark.com, and so this is the size that I'm working with. So now we got to go down through 2 beads to get into position to add our next drop. These 2. And we'll pick up an 11-0, our drop, and go through the small end first, and 11-0. Then we're going to skip that 11-0, use it as a stopper, go back up through that drop. Pull it up close to where it's close, but give it enough room to be centered when you pick up your next 11-0, and go through that 8-0. There we go. Now we're going to pick up our crystal. We're going to jump down to the next row here by adding that crystal in between those 2 8-0s that are setting at a different angle. It's like 1 8-0 is setting this way and the other one is setting this way. We want to fill that gap, and then we want to go down through 2 beads to get into position, an 11-0 and 8-0 to add the next crystal. Make sure you're not pulled real tight, because it'll flip these it'll make these dangles really stiff. So pick up your 11-0. My battery went dead, so I'm not sure if I already set this. And your 11-0, skip your 11-0, go back up through that crystal, and pull it down. Pick up another 11-0 and go directly across. Pick up an 11-0 and go directly across to that next 11-0, and make sure them beads are settled in there the way they need to be, not cockeyed or anything. They need to be side by side. Here we go, and then we will pick up a crystal and go down through that last row, last bead of the next row down. Right like that. And then remember, we have to go through 2 beads, the 11-0 and the 8-0, to get to where we need to be. To put on our next crystal. Alright, so finish. You've got 1, 2, and we'll do the bottom crystal together. So put on the 2 crystals, or the 2 drops and the 2 crystals, and come back and we'll do the bottom one together. Alright, so we've done that. Now we want to come through the 11-0. That's right beside of the 8-0 that we're coming out of. We should be coming out of that 8-0 because we just added our crystal. So we'll jump down through this 11-0. We'll make sure to not pull too tight. We don't want our crystals all wonky. You know, give them enough space to lay right. And then we're going to pick up, let's try 3 11-0s. Alright, and then we'll pick up our crystal by the small end first, an 11-0 as a stopper. Okay, then we'll pick up 3 more 11-0s and go up through that 11-0 on the other side here. Like that. And there we have added the end crystal. Alright, now we're just going to go back up and do exactly what we did on the way down. Starts off with adding a crystal to get up into the next row here. Okay, and then we'll add our seed bead crystal. Let me get some more off. Seed bead. Bring that down, skip the seed bead, go back up through the crystal. Pick up a seed bead and go through that 8-0. Now this time we're going to have to go up, you know, we're working our way back up through, of course, and we'll need to go up through these 2 beads, the 11-0 and the 8-0, to get to where we need. I'm going to have to pick it up to get through them. So we're going up through these 2 beads. The 11-0 and the 8-0. And then, of course, we will pick up our crystal and jump up into the next row. See? Right now our thread's going up, coming up out of this 8-0, and we need to go over, jump up and over to add our crystal, like that. Alright, now we've added all of our drops to our little bib style necklace, and I put our last drop on. We're coming out that bottom 8-0 of this unit here. So honestly, we want this, you know, we want this to be sturdy and last for a long time. So what I will do is I'm going to go up around this whole unit, coming back down. Let's see, how would I get turned around right here? I need to be coming this way. So, well, I will come up through that next 11-0, 8-0. I'm going to go through that 11-0. All right. So let's take a look at our work. Looks pretty nice. So we're coming out to not get the tail thread mixed in. Let's hold it back. So now we turned around. What I did is I came between these 2 beads and tied a half hitch knot. And then I went back through the 8-0. So we can be turned around to go in the right direction. Pick up 9. of the 11/0s, and we're going to go down. We're going to skip this 8/0 and come down through this next 8/0. Put that end on there. All right, now we're headed in the right direction, and we need to go back through and retrace our thread path. This time we will go through that 11/0, back through that drop, we're going to go back through and reinforce this, and we're going to come back through that 11/0, 8/0, crystal. Let's see, where are we going? 8/0. And in this process, we're going to tie some half-hitch knots. So we'll tie one here. I'm going to flip this upside down so it'll be easier to work with. I'm going to go under that thread bridge between that 8/0 and 11/0. Pull down till you have a small loop, needle through that loop, and pull down. Now don't pull real tight, but tug, you know, you don't want to bunch everything up. That's what I'm trying to say. Then we'll go through that 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, drop, and 11/0, back through the drop, the 11/0, and the 8/0. And we'll come through that crystal, we'll tie our half-hitch knot here under the thread bridge, needle through the loop, and pull that knot down, and then go through that 11/0, and then you pull that knot up into that 11/0, and then we'll go through the 8/0 and 11/0. Down through that drop, always watching where your thread goes. You know, we don't want to get caught on anything, so you have a loop of extra thread. Through that 11/0, back through the drop, 11/0, and if you can get it, the 8/0. Remember, don't pull real tight, make sure it's got a little room to wiggle. Go through the crystal, the 8/0, and then we'll tie our half-hitch knot, needle through the loop, and pull down, and we'll go through that 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, down through the drop, through the 11/0, up through the drop, the 11/0, the 8/0, needle through the crystal, the 8/0. And then tie your half hitch knot there. And then go through that 11/0. Might not be able to get through the 8/0 at the same time, but just take your time going through. This is a beautiful summer piece. You know, you can dress it up or dress it down. Really, whatever you want to wear it with. Here in my state, everything's opened back up. You know, you take it out to dinner with you. It feels great to live normal life again. Alright, so continue to do just what we did. Make sure it's not pulled too tight, you know. And go all the way around, reinforcing, tying half hitch knots till we get back to the other side. And we'll do the next step. Now real quick, I just tied my half hitch knot. I'm going to go down through for the center one. I'm just going to retrace my thread path here. I'm going to go through the 11/0. And then the 3 more 11/0s. And then down through that drop. And that 11/0 on the tip. Back through that drop. And the 3 11/0s, and if the other one, if I can get the other one, but I probably can't. And we'll go up through that. (11/0), 8/0, crystal, (8/0), and then continue doing what we've been doing. Make sure to kind of pull and make sure it's in shape, it's not too tight, all that. Alright, as you go. Tying your half hitch knots, reinforcing your piece. Make sure it lays the way you want it to lay. And go all the way up to the edge, and we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so we've made it, we've reinforced, we've done our half hitch knots, we've made sure our dingles are not too stiff, and we're up here coming through this last 8/0 bead. I'm going to go ahead and tie a couple half hitch knots around this loop. So I went under, and my thread's getting short, but I think I have enough to finish, which is great. And then I'm going to go through, I tied a half hitch knot, so I'll go through a few beads. I'll tie another one. Go through 3 more. Tie another half hitch knot. And I'll go through to the 8/0. Make sure everything's in place. Nicely in place. And I'll go ahead and end my thread there. right? Now we have to sew our tail thread. So make sure you take off your stop bead. And what we need to do is go ahead and sew around. Let's see, where are we coming out of? Coming around out of, looks like this, in between this 11/0 and 8/0. And so we'll probably tie a half hitch knot so we can just directly come back and just go through and reinforce. I don't recommend tying any half hitch knots, you know, on the top, but when you get over here to these 11/0s, you could tie some, you know, half hitch knots, and that's just kind of reinforcing the top. Don't pull the top real tight, remember, we don't want it to bunch up. Alright, now for the necklace part, you're going to need, I think, about 4 jump rings and a clasp, which you could use a little tiny toggle clasp or a little lobster claw. And I'm still trying to decide. And then here we have our chain, which is stainless steel. And we've got to decide how long we want our piece. Now this is made to be worn like a bib. So I'd say between 14 and 16 inches. So I think we'd go about 7 inches of chain on one side and then 7 inches on the other side, however long you want it. Okay, you could do 8 inches. It'd be a 16 inch, which probably would be, I don't know, better. Alright, so between 7 and 8 inches on each side, depending on how big your neck is. I'll measure that out, come back, and we'll put it together. Alright, now we have our jump rings, we have our clasps, whichever one we decide, we have our chain cut. And the small chain calls for small jump rings, you know, in the gauge wise. So let's see if this small of a size will work to go around these seed beads and the chain. But I just opened the jump ring. I'm going to try to get that small loop through that jump ring. It takes me a while because first of all, I can't hold it up close, and my eyes are bad. Come on. Okay, got the chain on the jump ring. Now the jump ring needs to go into this, about the center of this row of seed beads. No, don't go. But you know, it'll move. You can move it around afterward to center it if you can't get it centered. Just trying to get a grip on this jump ring to close it. Alright, and make sure the jump ring is closed. Okay, and then there's one side. Now, we've got to do the same thing on the end here to put the clasp on. Open your jump ring. put your jump ring through your loop of your chain, and this side would be, if you're right-handed, this side would be the loop. I think I'm going to put on the jump ring with a bigger jump ring on the end. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe this little one will be fine, because we have such a small lobster claw. I think I've decided that that's what I'm going to use, is the lobster claw on this. Since the chain is so dainty, I'm going to make sure this jump ring is closed. Let's see. See, the end of this jump ring seems to be straight for some reason, but I think I got it closed there. So that's the loop end. This is going to be, well, you know, if you wear it on the side that it is embellished, the fancier side, this will be the left side, and you'll have the lobster claw on your right hand. So let's put, I'm going to go ahead and off camera, I'm going to put these jump rings on. I'm going to do the same thing we did on the left side. Okay, and I'll come back. Alright, now this side we're going to add our lobster claw. Let me see if I can get this in fast. And then we'll add our lobster claw here. Here we are, and then we'll close our jump ring. And there's our little summertime diagonal Pondo stitch bib style necklace. You could, if you wanted to, you could add a little dangle to the clasp, but that's it. And I made this mostly with the products that I received from beadpark.com. There'll be a coupon code on screen. Maybe now and in the beginning I'll probably put it on screen, and you'll find all that and all the links to the products down below in the description box. Okay, so here's, let me move this clasp. So here's the one diagonal Pondo stitch in the seaside green color, and then here is a more what do you want to call it, chunky version in the, I don't know, bright sky blue with flowers. I don't know, maybe I'll think of some names for them for this design. Now I'm also going to do a earring to match this, so keep your eyes open for that. And I think that's everything I need to tell you, so thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.